Broncos Country. Let's go! Man, you're not going to believe what just happened with the Denver Broncos. After completing the sweep of the Chiefs for the first time since 2014, Broncos Country just discovered a secret that changes everything about this Christmas victory. While the national media tries to discredit Bo Nix by saying he barely beat the Chiefs' backups, there's a bombshell detail that nobody's talking about. And look, this detail involves Sean Payton and could completely change the team's future. What I'm about to reveal here will blow your mind. Stick with me until the end because this third revelation goes against everything you've heard about this victory. Let's get straight to the point, Broncos family. The Denver Broncos are 13-3. First place in the NFL, first place in the AFC, first place in the AFC West. And you know what we did on a short week without several starters, playing on the road at Arrowhead? We swept the Kansas City Chiefs for the first time in over a decade. That's right, we haven't done that since 2014, and there's more. We won at Arrowhead for the first time since 2015. My daughter, who's in elementary school, had never seen the Broncos win there. Never. It's absolutely surreal when you stop to think about it. But here's the shocking secret that the national media is hiding from you. This victory was much more dominant than that 2013 score suggests. Much more. And I'm going to prove it to you with numbers that will make you realize we witnessed one of the most impressive performances of the season. Check out these devastating numbers. The Denver Broncos practically doubled the advantage in total plays, 71-42 over the Chiefs. An absolute blowout when you look at the real statistics. We had 303 yards of offense against a measly 139 yards for Kansas City. And time of possession, we also doubled our advantage over them in that category, controlling the game like a steamroller. There were 4 8-minute drives. 4! I've never seen the Broncos do that in my life. It was the fastest game I've ever watched. When I realized it, I was already doing the post-game analysis, when normally I'd still be broadcasting the game live. It's absolutely crazy. According to ESPN analysts, this domination in time of possession is one of the strongest indicators of absolute superiority in modern football. And the Denver Broncos made it look easy, even playing on the road on a short week against a division rival. So why the hell was the victory by only 7 points when it could have been 38-14? Here comes the part that's going to make Sean Payton furious when he analyzes the All-22 film. First thing I need to tell you about the dropped catches. I love Courtland Sutton with all my heart. The guy just surpassed 1,000 yards for the season, becoming the first Broncos wide receiver to achieve 2 consecutive seasons with over 1,000 yards since Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders did it with Peyton Manning. He's an absolute monster. But in that Christmas game, Courtland dropped some crucial passes that he normally makes in his sleep. One of them was on 3rd down, which led to the Broncos punting the ball away. And then a few more on that drive that resulted in field goals instead of touchdowns. There was a spectacular play where Bo Nix threw it to the back of the end zone. That pass was perfect, spinning in the air like it was in slow motion, and somehow that ball slipped out of Courtland's hands. The same thing happened on a 3rd down play. He makes these one-handed catches look easy. We've seen him make impossible catches that defy physics. Nobody's going to be more upset about this than Courtland himself, and I'm not criticizing him, far from it. But those incomplete passes cost precious points. We dropped out of the top 5 in that category, and now we're back to 2nd place, right behind the Jacksonville Jaguars. Sean Payton will fix this problem, I have no doubt about that. But here comes the bombshell news that's going to make you absolutely furious. The officiating was one of the worst I've ever seen in my life watching football. And you realize this when even Kirk Herbstreit, who was commentating the game, starts questioning the calls. "I didn't see anything there," he said, completely perplexed. They called in the rules analyst, and even he was equally confused by the absurd call. Listen to this. It was only in that last minute, right at the 2-minute warning, when the Broncos were about to try a 4th down, that the first penalty against the Kansas City Chiefs happened in the entire game. The only other time in NFL history that a team went that far into the game without having committed a single penalty was against the Chiefs earlier this year, when they finished the game without any fouls. Man, this isn't a coincidence. The NFL wanted the Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift show. They wanted all that drama. But the Broncos played so well that they were too good to be defeated, even playing against the Kansas City Chiefs and the referees. Let me show you how bizarre this was. There was that Bo Nix interception after one of the most fortunate deflections I've ever seen. Pure Chiefs luck, since we were in field goal position. And then you see a defensive pass interference call that you simply can't believe they made. The ball fell 15 yards away from where Xavier Worthy was and where the supposed contact with Patrick Surtain II, the best cornerback in the league, occurred. That completely changed the game. But you know what's more insane? Even with all these ridiculous penalties against us, we still won. And there's more. Ben Powers didn't even move on one play, stood completely still, and yet he was the one who got called for a false start. How? Just how is that possible? The first penalty of the game only happened because Quinn Miners managed to induce the Kansas City Chiefs to commit an offsides penalty. Chris Jones crossed the line, but it took Quinn jumping smartly to make it crystal clear, because the refs weren't going to call a false start on fourth down. According to league insiders, this was one of the most questionable officiating performances of the entire season. And you see this when you analyze that the Kansas City Chiefs had more yards lost by penalties than yards actually gained in the game. It's absolutely ridiculous and incomprehensible to any fan who understands football. Fortunately, the Chiefs are going through a major rebuild. Patrick Mahomes suffered a devastating ACL injury, and so did Gardner Minshew. When the Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift story ends and we never have to hear about it again, when Mahomes misses the first 6 games of next season and the team is already out of the playoffs, we won't have to beat the Chiefs and the refs at the same time anymore. Now comes the part that's going to make you jump out of your seat with excitement. Broncos Nation, we have our quarterback. And I'm not talking about just any quarterback. Bo Nix is legit. He joined Peyton Manning and Justin Herbert as the only 3 quarterbacks in NFL history to have 3,500 passing yards and 25 touchdowns in their first 2 seasons. Reread that sentence and let it sink in. The national media is finally coming around and saying, Bo Nix, give him a first down and 20 yards. Doesn't matter. He adjusts and becomes an absolutely elite quarterback. You see Chase Daniel coming out publicly and saying that Bo Nix has a clutch gene, that the Broncos have an 11-2 record in games decided by 1 possession, and all you had to do was change the channel and watch the Detroit Lions game against the Minnesota Vikings. Jared Goff, who has a $70 million cap hit next season, couldn't get the job done against a backup quarterback who had 6 negative passing yards. The Lions' offensive talent really masks Jared Goff's deficiencies. But the Broncos have the opposite problem. We have our quarterback, and now we just wait until we can build a team around him with incredible talent. And here comes the final revelation that's going to completely change your perspective. This is Sean Payton's 3rd full season with the Denver Broncos, and we've seen this team grow exponentially. I can't wait to see what we'll do next year when we're no longer paying dead money on the salary cap for Russell Wilson. Now listen to this carefully. We broke the franchise sack record. Nick Bonito is having a historic season. The Broncos' defense is among the best in the NFL, limiting opponents and forcing turnovers like a well-oiled machine, and there's a chance to increase that number considerably next week with the arrival of Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers. The Broncos will have 10 days to rest and recover. And the Chargers will play one of the most physical games of the year against the Houston Texans. If they lose that game, the Broncos will have already clinched the AFC West title, and if they win, the Broncos will still have 10 days of rest to prepare for the next phase. Justin Herbert will have the most depleted offensive line in football without his 2 guards, with tackles going in and out with different injuries. The Broncos are going to win the AFC West. We're going to secure the 1st seed in the AFC. We'll have a pretty boring wild card weekend because we'll only be able to watch our opponents' games, having already secured our spot. And you know what's more incredible? R.J. Harvey isn't being mentioned in any Offensive Rookie of the Year conversations, even though he's leading all rookies with 12 touchdowns. 12. The guy became only the third rookie since 1950 to record at least 7 rushing touchdowns and 5 receiving touchdowns in one season, joining Gale Sayers and Alvin Kamara. This team's potential is absurdly high. You see it in the way Bo Nix has evolved. He's always had the ability to create space with his legs. The difference now is his ability, in very tight spaces, to find the path and throw to R.J. Harvey to score crucial touchdowns. In the win against the Chiefs, Bo Nix found R.J. Harvey in the back of the end zone to complete a 14-play drive and give the Broncos the final lead. It was the drive that sealed the game, that guaranteed the victory, that confirmed the sweep. And here's the final secret that changes everything. Even without Brandon Jones, our starting safety, even without Dre Greenlaw, our starting inside linebacker, with Ben Powers on a snap count, without our starting center Luke Wattenberg, who was placed on injured reserve right before the game, without Pat Bryant, without J.K. Dobbins, the media will say it was the Chiefs' backups. But we were also playing with backups in crucial positions, and we still dominated every aspect of the game. According to Broncos news analysts, this victory demonstrated the depth of the roster and the excellence of Sean Payton's coaching staff. The ability to win even without key pieces is the hallmark of championship teams. Troy Franklin is developing as one of the most promising wide receivers in the rookie class. Evan Engram continues to be a constant threat in the passing game. The Courtland Sutton extension was one of the front office's best moves. Alex Singleton and Justin Sternad hold down the middle of the field with authority. The Broncos' defense, led by Vance Joseph, is making history. Jonathan Cooper and Nick Bonito form one of the most lethal pass-rushing duos in the league. Pat Surtain, too, continues to be the best cornerback in the NFL. Talanoa Hufanga brought Pro Bowl experience to the secondary. It's a phenomenal time to be a Broncos fan. Everything is ahead of us. We achieved our first 13-win season since 2013. We clinched the playoffs before mid-December. We swept the Chiefs for the first time in a decade. This team is doing things we haven't done since the Peyton Manning era. And the difference is that this time we have a young quarterback on a rookie contract with huge room for growth. Bo Nix is just beginning his NFL journey. If I had told you last Christmas that we'd be 13-3 in first place in the NFL, that we'd sweep the Kansas City Chiefs, that Bo Nix would be even better than last season, and that we'd have already clinched a playoff spot before mid-December, you would have said it would be the best Christmas ever. So don't get down about the fact that the victory was by only 7 points. The Denver Broncos is really a strong team, and just like before, they continue to crush opposing teams, destroying rivals' dreams. The feeling is fantastic. The ball doesn't lie. The numbers don't lie. And the truth is this: the Broncos are back. Broncos Country, let's ride. Broncos Nation, we have so much to believe in. The next few years are going to be special. With Sean Payton leading, George Paton building the roster, and Bo Nix commanding the offense, the future has never looked so bright in Mile High. And while other teams enter rebuild mode, we're building a dynasty. While the Chiefs deal with devastating injuries and a lost season, we're securing home field advantage in the playoffs. This is the year. This is the season. This is the team. And you, reading this right now, are witnessing history being made. Years from now, when we're holding the Super Bowl trophy, you'll remember this moment, this Christmas victory, this historic sweep. The journey is just beginning. The best is yet to come. So, answer me this. Do you really believe this Broncos team can make it to the Super Bowl this year? Or do you still have doubts about Bo Nix and this dominant defense? Comment below what you think. Subscribe to the channel and hit that bell because every week I bring exclusive analysis, behind-the-scenes content, and everything Broncos Nation needs to know. Share this video with every Broncos fan you know, because this story needs to be told. This truth needs to be revealed. And don't forget, the ball doesn't lie. The Broncos are back. And we're going to make history in 2026.